Hey, how are you? Sorry. I'm just, you know, a little holiday music. Welcome to the Classic Guitar Rock Daily Update. It is getting closer to Christmas. This is a special holiday edition of the Daily Update. I'm Jeremy, and I'm super happy that you're joining me today. And I hope you have a safe and wonderful holiday and are able to spend time with family and friends. And I truly hope it's a great holiday for you. So let's get into this news. The on again, off again child pornography lawsuit against Nirvana has been revived once more. Remember back in like 2021, a guy named Spencer Eldon, who was the baby on the cover of Nirvana's 91 album, Nevermind. It's the naked baby swimming in the pool. Well, in 2021, he sued Nirvana and Kurt Cobain's estate, claiming they, quote, knowingly produced, possessed, and advertised commercial child pornography, end quote. Now, his suit has been dismissed on multiple occasions because the statute of limitations had run out. Okay, he waited too long, basically. However, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit reversed the lower court's decision to toss the lawsuit, reasoning that the statute of limitations had not passed because the Nevermind cover was republished in 2021 for the album's 30th anniversary. So another legal twist there. And the court, quote, held that each republication of the cover may constitute a new injury to Eldon, so he can continue his lawsuit. When Dave Grohl was asked about this, he said, quote, I think that there's much more to look forward to and much more to life than getting bogged down in these kinds of things. Basically, he's like, I'm not dealing with it. And he says, and fortunately, I don't have to do the paperwork. So, I mean, they're suing Nirvana. They're suing the estate of Kurt Cobain and Dave Grohl. He was a member of Nirvana, but he's not really, it doesn't really, he's not worried about it, it sounds like. But he did say that they could change the cover. I mean, it doesn't sound like he's opposed to that. I have many ideas of how we could alter that cover, but we'll see what happens. We'll let you know. I'm sure we'll come up with something good. So it is what it is. So we'll see how that plays out. Motley Crue. Now, there was a lot of hoopla around this New Year's Eve gig that Motley Crue was going to be playing at the Acrisure Arena in Thousand Palms, California. That was, of course, supposed to happen on New Year's Eve, the 31st. Well, guess what? Canceled. Motley Crue's canceled on Thursday. That's yesterday. Just 10 days ahead of the scheduled gig, Motley Crue explained why they are canceling the show in a brief statement. It is with deep regret we must inform you the Crue Year's Eve show in Palm Springs is being canceled. The very short time frame to produce the event resulted in issues beyond our control. We look forward to seeing you all in 2024. Well, you would have thought they would have realized that before they accepted the gig if time frame was a problem. But, whatever. You could swing over to Knox in Montana and see my friend Ian Newbill play at the Hereford Bar and Grill on New Year's Eve. I mean, that's an option too. Hey, in a new interview with Greg Prado of Ultimate Guitar, original Kiss guitarist Ace Frehley was asked if he will be getting paid for the Spaceman makeup, which is being incorporated into the Kiss avatars. Fascinating, because this whole avatar thing, that's a whole new platform now that Kiss is out, hawking their wares. Ace says, I get paid for the usage for merch and stuff, and I would consider this avatar stuff a merchandise ploy, but I just saw something the other day on YouTube that Gene is having second thoughts about the whole avatar thing. But who knows with those guys? Every day is a different story with those guys. And to be totally honest with you, I really don't follow what they do very closely because I'm more involved with my own career. So what happened is back in the late 70s, probably early 80s. And I don't want to delve into it too much, but there was a chasm, a fracture, a fissure in the band. There was Gene and Paul, and then there was Peter and Ace, right? And there were basically they bought out Peter and Ace, and they paid them. They paid them to for their likeness, right? For the character, because each person came up with their own character in the original Kiss lineup. And so, and I don't know what the figure was. I think it was astronomically low, but this is what Peter and Ace accepted, you know, that, hey, we'll pay you X amount of dollars. And apparently there's they get a percentage for them to use the images, the likenesses as well. So Ace makes money from that. Peter does too. And this whole Avatar thing, again, Ace is like, I'm assuming I'm going to get paid from that. If it does anything, are they going to make money? I think it's stupid. I think the Avatar thing is dumb. And I think give it 6 months and you'll never hear it mentioned again. But I could be wrong. But Ace assumes, and to me, I'm not an attorney, I'm a journalist, but Ace assumes he will get a piece of that. And to me, it seems like he should, right? If it's his likeness and that sort of thing. So that remains to be seen. All right. Boy, that's a short update. I feel like I'm just getting started and I'm done already. But you know what? That's good because that gives me more time to talk about this album. Now, you know my love for Michael Schenker. Michael Schenker, possibly the craziest guitar player of all time, but one of the best. And I love his music. I love UFO. And so I want to share, this is not a classic copy of the UFO Phenomenon album. This is one I bought a few years ago. And it's really cool, right? I mean, it's Phenomenon. Phenomenon is, I think, you know, most folks will cite, you know, like Obsession or Lights Out or something like that as their favorite UFO album. Of course, Strangers in the Night, for my money, the greatest live album ever made. But studio albums, I really like this first one. Now, Michael Schenker's like 18 years old here. This came out in 1974. You know, the story goes that Scorpions were opening for UFO, and UFO was doing a tour in Germany. UFO was bigger than Scorpions at the time. And they saw this blonde-headed 18-year-old Schenker kid, and they said, we want that guy. And they basically took him right there on the tour. Hey, come join us. And Rudolph even encouraged Michael, Rudolph Schenker being Michael's brother. He said, you got to do it. Because at the time UFO was much bigger and they were a British band. And Rudolph was like, you know, that's where you went to make it, was England, right? There wasn't a big rock scene in Germany. And so Rudolph was like, Michael, if you have a chance to go play with a British band that's on the rise in England, you better do it. And so he did it. And Michael didn't speak any English at the time. And his girlfriend would translate for him and all of that. And they'd get together and play. And music was the only language they were speaking, right? Well, this is the album that resulted. This came out in 1974. It's called Phenomenon. Now, this particular copy that I bought, it's a 2-album set. So the first disc is the Phenomenon album, right? But disc 2 is Live at the Electric Ballroom, USA. So this is from like a tour they did in 74 in the States. And it's live. And it's pretty cool. The thing that always blows me away about Schenker, he was 18 years old. And he is, on this album, a brilliant player. I mean, he's just an awesome player. He should be at the top of all the guitar player lists. His career never, just like UFO, right? I think they were their own worst enemies. They just, their internal turmoil, drug abuse, whatever it was, they never grabbed the golden ring because of self-sabotage, which is a shame because they were a great band. And This is a great album. And here's a crazy story. Before Ronnie Wood joined the Stones, story goes that the Stones were interested in Michael Schenker. Now, could you think of if you think about it now, what a weird match that would be. Michael Schenker, who's Mr. hard rock, metal. Could you imagine him playing with the Rolling Stones? Now think back. The Rolling Stones were basing it on what they heard here, right? 74, 75, right? They had this. Maybe the second album had come out by then, I'm not sure. But they were interested in having Schenker in the Stones. Now, on its face, that seems crazy. However, people say I'm crazy when I say this. There are 3 or 4 songs on this album that, to me, I could totally see how they wanted him. Very bluesy. You can almost replace Phil Mogg's voice with Mick Jagger, and that would work. That sounds like a mid-70s Rolling Stones song. You might think I'm crazy when I say it. Now, fast forward to 1980, 81, 82, Michael Schenker Group, and you hear what he's doing. Yeah, that wouldn't have worked with the Stones. Completely different. But in 1974, what you hear on this album, I could totally see why the Stones would be thinking, we got to get this guy in the band. Fascinating. It would have been very interesting. But this has, some of their biggest hits are on here. Doctor, Doctor and Rock Bottom are both on this first album. Those are probably their 2 biggest UFO songs. They're both here. But it's very cool to hear an 18-year-old kid who is such a mature player. And I think that's a phenomenon. It's a great album to start if you're wanting to go down the UFO rabbit hole. Guys, thank you so much for all your support. Thank you for tuning in for the daily update. And again, I hope you and your family have a wonderful Christmas holiday filled with peace and love and joy and happiness. And we'll do it all again next week. Won't be here on Christmas Day. I'm taking Christmas Day off, but we'll see you next Tuesday. Thanks so much. Take care. Happy holidays. Live long and prosper. Bye-bye.